Okay, let's do part 3. Finish this. Okay, so in summary, part 2. Okay, in summary, the Alter Rebbe has explained how specifically because of Hashem's encompassing light, right? It's Soviv Kalam, being expressed in the physical world, we're able to transform the body and animal soul from bad to good through Tshuva, Torah, mitzvahs, right? Because we're able to draw down something that transcends the hierarchical structure and model of the cosmos and the spiritual worlds. Okay, the focus is on how mitzvahs can refine and transform the body and animal soul, since mitzvahs are the recipients of the encompassing light. Right, that which is the lowest has an advantage because it's able to draw down from the highest. Torah study, by contrast, exists in the spiritual world too, where the encompassing light is not expressed as much, right? Torah is much more limited in that capacity, which is why it goes inside of us. It goes inside our minds instead of on us, like mitzvahs, which go on our bodies, like clothing. Now, the Alter Rebbe explained that tshuva that derives not only from the same encompassing light that mitzvahs come from, but from an even deeper level of Hashem. Tshuva can fix and complete what was lacking from the mitzvahs, right? So we said Torah is the most limited because it's limited to the mind. Mitzvahs are much more infinite because they can't go inside, they go outside the body. And then tshuva is going to be able to rectify mitzvahs, so in that way they're even more infinite and unbounded than the mitzvahs. Okay. If a person creates a blemish, right, and they allow the sitra achra, the side that opposes holiness to siphon energy from holiness, and that's right. Then we need to somehow rectify that situation. Also, it's for this situation that we were given the idea of tshuva, right? As we say in the 5th bracha of the Shemona Esrei, the bringing us back, complete tshuva for you. And even though our sages said regarding tshuva, if someone sinned but they did tshuva before he moves from his place, he's already forgiven. That should be good news for some people. For everyone, it should be good news for them. Right? That's from the Gemara. Nonetheless, even though he's forgiven, the lack remains with regard to the revelation of Hashem that he was supposed to reveal, right? So this is true FOMO, fear of missing out. This is FOMO ilah, I call, right? Higher level FOMO, where if you miss the mitzvah, yes, you're forgiven through tshuva, but there's going to be a blank spot, right? It's like if you get an excuse for missing a day of school, okay, you might not get a demerit because of that absence, but you're going to miss the information. You still have to make up the information in the process of finding from the body and the soul, right? So there's something lacking. The question is, even if tshuva brings forgiveness, how does that help the fact that he didn't fulfill the purpose of why this godly soul came into this world to reveal Hashem and from the body and animal soul holiness, right? Rabbi Tatz often says you hire someone to deliver some goods in a truck for you to a factory or somewhere, and when he gets back and you said, "Oh, how was the ride? Any problems?" He said, "No, the roads were smooth." Right? Got there, came back. Okay, but did you deliver the goods? Oh, I knew I forgot something. Right? So that's what we're saying. So tshuva enables you to rectify whatever was negative in the situation, but you're missing the positive aspect of it. That's just going to be absent. However, this is the deeper aspect of tshuva that we ask Hashem when we say, "Bring us back with complete tshuva," right? In the Shemona Esrei, before you lifnecha. The deeper meaning of lifnecha, before you, is lifni miuscha, to your innermost essence, right? Pnimius it's the same source as panim, like face, because it lends insight into what's going on in the internality, like the pnimius, the internality. So we really want to draw from Hashem's innermost essence. Which is beyond even the level of Hashem is Soviv Kalam and encompasses all worlds, which only encompasses Ra's limited worlds. Right? That's already a limitation, by the way. To say that Hashem is infinite, you're limiting him to being infinite, right? So we're drawing from a level that's above being just infinite, where we say Hashem just is. But Hashem's essence is totally beyond any relationship with the worlds. See, the problem, yes, this is an infinite level, but it's infinite relative to the worlds. So we have to draw down from somewhere that's even higher than that. We talk about this often. I would be surprised if there's any maamarim that doesn't at least touch on this this aspect of Hashem, right? The essence. That's really where we're always. Of course, anytime we're describing Hashem, we're not talking about his essence. We're talking about how the essence manifests in various manifestations, but the essence itself is something that's really untouchable, and we like to keep it that way. We like to draw on it, but we like to keep it untouchable in terms of conceptualizing it, because as soon as we conceptualize it, it ceases to be it. Okay, but Hashem's essence is totally beyond any relationship with the world, even with regard to relating to them only in an encompassing and distant way. Right, that would be relegated to what we call soviv kalamin. The aliyah tshuva, right? So far we have 3 levels we're describing. With mamali kalamin, that's like the level of torah, the level of food goes in you, flows through. It's limited. It's tailor made for the specific creature. Then there's soviv, which is the level that mamali is coming from. Right, that's infinite, too big to be made manifest. Let's say revealed. And then there's a level above that called atzmos. Right, the essence, which is where we're drawing tshuva down from. So Torah is from Mimali, limited capacity, right? Capacity, limited, finite phrases, words, etc. Mitzvos, actions, we just do them. Why? Because that's from the world of the infinite. And then even beyond the infinite, there's the world of Atzmas, Hashem himself, as he truly is unto himself. And that's where tshuva comes from. Okay, if anyone asks you where tshuva comes from, you can say the essence. But Hashem's essence is totally beyond any relationship with the worlds, even with regard to relating to them only in an encompassing distant way. The alidei tshuva sheyamshich or chadash al and through tshuva, the person draws down a new revelation from the essence of Hashem. Right? This is really the source of newness. Where does newness come from? Newness comes from Hashem's essence. That's real newness. Anything else is a cheap imitation. Anything else is a copy, which fills in all the blemishes and whatever was lacking in the revelation of Hashem. However, the question remains, how is it possible for a limited person, little old me, to call forth from such a high level from Hashem's essence to draw down a new revelation from him? It is for this reason that we request from Hashem, bring us back with complete teshuvah before you. And like it says in Eicha, going back to Eicha now, return us to you and we will listen. Hashivenu elecha. You give them mechilin. Meaning that you, Hashem, should pour on us a spiritual awakening from above, causing his abundant mercies to flow down to us from the source of all mercies, from his 13 attributes of mercy. Right, 13 is the number, the transcendent number 1, right? Because echad is Gematria 13, common source. 13 attributes are the source of Hashem's oneness, his essence, which are specified in the verse from Micha, who is like you, God, who pardons iniquity. Since this is what will give us the ability to do tshuva, and this is the idea of the revelation of the 13 attributes of mercy in the month of Elul that we just entered. Everyone should have a good chodesh. It is a preparation that enables us to do tshuva. We need to prepare for tshuva. How do we prepare? Through all the practices. All the preparations. It is a preparation that enables us to do tshuva, to actualize the truth of Ani Ldodi, I am connected to Hashem who I love. And even though throughout the whole year we mentioned in the Yitzch'k prayer the 13 attributes of mercy as they are specified in the verses from Kisisa, Hashem, God who is merciful, etc., then what is special about 13 attributes of mercy in the month of Elul? Right, this is the question we opened up with. What's significant? Actually, we dealt with this in the previous maamarim. Meaning it doesn't look like a 13 attributes of mercy kind of month, right? It looks like a regular month. In the month of Elul, in contrast to what was revealed the entire year, Heimrak harachmanus al chaya guf bilvad aval yigam mechilin drachmei hamiirus hameirim v'chodesh Elohim harachamim al chaya nefesh lo'ira b'shuva. The answer is that these attributes of mercy learned out from the verses in Kisisa are only Hashem's mercies for our physical body, our physical life. However, the 13 attributes of mercy that we learned out from the verses of Micha, right, which is from the latter part of Tanakh, right, from Nach, not from the Torah, it's proper. So the verse we learned out from the Torah proper, from the 5 books of Moses, has to do with our physical life. But that which we learned out from the prophet Micha, those 13 attributes are the ones that shine in Elul. That's very interesting. This should be a chiddush for most people. They are Hashem's mercies for the life of the godly soul, which awaken the soul and empower them to do tshuva. Very interesting. Okay. So these 13 attributes of mercy and Elul are specifically the ones that are arousing our godly soul. And this is the meaning of what is written in Shirim regarding the month of Elul, that he nurses me with roses. Right. One interpretation we said was Shoshanim is like Torah learning. Right. Shoshanim. By the way, Shoshanim is 13 petals. And roses 13 petals. That's a connection with mercy. Meaning that he nourishes the Jewish people with the power to do tshuva. He nourishes and sustains us with roses, which have 13 petals, corresponding to 13 attributes of mercy that empowers us to do tshuva. So that's how we're understanding Shoshanim. Roses, 13 petals. 13 is the number associated with mercy, and that's going to enable us. That's going to give us the leeway to do tshuva. Understand this, the whole year we say Kriya Shema, and I, Hashem, will give you grass in your fields for your animals. The deeper meaning of your animals is a reference to the animal soul and the human intellect, which is invested in the animal soul. Right, so these are dealing with the physical, corporeal life, the material world. In order for them to agree to love Hashem as mentioned in the Shema, the sage established the blessing of the Yotzer Or as the first of the two blessings for Shema. Which describe how the angels, the Oifanim Mechayos, right? Interesting. Ofanim, like there's like birds, and Chayos, like animals, right? So that's the correlate or the reflexive aspect in the spiritual realms, right? They have those two, which are the spiritual source, the animal soul, and the human intellect have a great love for Hashem. Therefore, the animal soul and human intellect are also able to have a great love for Hashem, right? As above, so is below. Ufasuke de Zimra, and they also established the Pasuke de Zimra, same idea. This is about arousing the animal, elevating the animal, versus the praise for Hashem that animal soul and human intellect can relate to on their own level. Shehu bechinas ha'arichus behis boinunus gedulas Hashem yisbarach ad shigam nefesh bahamis v'hasichlis yaskimu shelo ya'asa. The purpose of these is that through them a person will come to a lengthy contemplation on the greatness of Hashem. Right, that's the Alter Rebbe's general prescription. Right, contemplating the greatness of Hashem to the point that even the animal soul and the human intellect agree that it is proper. Right, it's not a big feat to get the godly soul on board for God, but to get the animal soul on board for God, that's something I would pay money to see. Right. It doesn't even like to agree that it is a proper for all living things, including, right? You get your animal soul on board, then you're in business. To yearn only for Hashem and nothing else, then what's the sky's the limit? Aval bishvil he's oirus ha'ava b'nefesh he's atzma ein sadechlis boinus kol kach shaharei ner Hashem nishmasadim. However, to awaken the godly soul itself to love Hashem, this lengthy contemplation is not needed as much. Since, as it says in the Mishlei, the soul of a man is a flame of Hashem. Right, the soul's already on fire. Shekach mutba bechol nafsh Yisrael beteva toldoisa mimikoram lios cheptsam usashukasam likalo beor Hashem uladavka. Meaning that just like a flame is naturally drawn upwards to its source, so too it is the nature of the soul of every Jew, right? The Jewish soul, a special kind of soul that is derived from its source in Hashem, right? Peace of Hashem, chelik adakam mamish. That its desire and yearning is to become absorbed in the light of Hashem and to connect to Him. Fine. Since this love is inherent in every Jew's nature, therefore, not as contemplation is needed to awaken this love, right? This is closer to what we call Ava Misteris, the hidden love, that needs merely to be evoked or drawn out. It's already created, as opposed to creating love from scratch. And we call Ava Soilim, right? These are more contemplative loves where you have to meditate, as opposed to just arousing what's already there. And this is the deeper meaning of what we say in the Shema. And I, Hashem, will give grass in your fields for your animals. Peters, Esev, Haim, Hamalachim, Shluchei Hashpa. The explanation, grass is a reference to angels who deliver the flow of life force from Hashem to the lowest created being. Okay? Grass is, right, and we know there's a Gemara that says that a blade of grass doesn't grow without an angel striking it and telling it to grow. Right? So grass is a metaphor for, or a reference to the idea of everything having a source, a hierarchical source in Hashem. Through them, Hashem's flow of life force is drawn down from above to give power and strength to the godly soul, so that it should be able to transform the animal soul. Okay, so what empowers the godly soul to be able to transform the animal soul? That's the 13 attributes of mercy in this month of Elul. Just like grass gives physical life to physical animals, so too the angels are sent to give spiritual life to the animal soul of man. Right. So how does the godly soul get fed? It gets fed through angels, the spiritual angels, by giving the person the ability to come to or spiritual animals, I should say, by giving the person the ability to come to an understanding about Hashem and awaken a love for Hashem in his animal soul. So it's really the bridge. It's the bridge between the higher and lower. Right. The spiritual grass to spiritually feed our animal soul with an understanding and love for Hashem is also derived from the 13 attributes of mercy that we mentioned throughout the year. During most of the year, we see Hashem's mercies expressed to us in two ways: to protect us physically and give us physical life. Right. These are two areas where we don't really deserve it. We're just given it. Mercy is by definition that which we don't deserve. It's not din. It comes after din. We're judged, and then whatever we're lacking, we get is merciful, which usually for most of us, that's everything. To enable us to refine and transform the animal soul, that it should also come to love Hashem. However, in Elul, a different level of Hashem's mercy is expressed. Right. So we said there was two readings from 13 attributes of mercy. The one from the 5 books of Moses, Kisisa, and that's attributed to sustaining our physical well-being when we draw that down during the year. And then there's the one from the book of Micha, which is associated with empowering our godly soul, right? Which is already, we asked the question, it's already on fire. So what do we need that for? However, in Elul, a different level of Hashem's mercy is expressed. This level of mercy of Hashem is specifically expressed in the rest of the year. However, regarding the month of Elul, it's written, he nourishes us with roses. Remember roses, 13 petals, 13 attributes of mercy. As specified in Micha, shehem bechinas yigibel mechilin derachmei hame'irim umisgalim b'chodesh Elul yos oisin teshuva sheyemula kol hachesroinois. This that shine and revealed in the month of Elul, which enable us to do tshuva. Okay, so what does this do? This enables us to do tshuva, so that whatever revelation of Hashem was lacking due to our errors should be filled in. Okay, so we can say, let's just generally say, the 13 attributes of mercy from the year that are referenced in Parshas Kisisa are responsible for making up for our physical, material lives, what we're lacking in material lives, and 30 attributes of mercy that we draw down during Elul, referenced in the book of Micha, are responsible for filling up what we're lacking in our spiritual lives. The hamshacha zoy hu tzrichim gam bishvil hanefesh lekis atzma. Note, this is the Tzemach Tzedek is adding this. The draw is the grandson of the author of this, or the compiler of this maamarim, if he's going to say. This drawing down of the roses corresponds to Hashem's mercies are also needed for the godly soul itself. Right? Why does the godly soul need it? Ki agam shekach mutba bechol nefesh kana. For even though it is the nature of every Jewish soul to yearn to reconnect to Hashem, this does not explain why an extra power is needed for the godly soul to do it. Right? That's the question. Why does the godly soul need extra power? Ach inen ki yesha ha'alos man shenimshach mitzad etzem hanefesh b'tiva umeila. The idea is that there's one level of the person's own initiative to elevate himself to Hashem that comes from his own essential nature. Right? We have some kind of, we're given some empowerment. We call that free will. But in order to come to elevate himself to Hashem on a level of tshuva, right, which we said it transcends even the level of the mitzvos, with very great intensity, beyond what the soul can naturally handle, the person must receive help from above, so that he can reach this level. Okay, so really, this is the level of tshuva. 13 attributes of mercy in the month of Elul are teshuva based, are primed for tshuva. This is the idea of us asking Hashem to return us to you, since we need His help to reach true tshuva. Right, Hashem, help us get to the level that we're not able to get to on our own. We're doing everything we can on our end, and yet we're still falling short. That's what these 13 attributes of mercy elicit and evoke us to elicit tshuva, which is not fair. It's a gift beyond the natural motivation of the godly soul, right? Whatever our godly soul, the limits of our godly soul, right? Whatever that is, these 13 attributes of mercy, again, referenced from the book of Micha, drawn down in Elul, are going to empower. And regarding this type of help from above, it says that He nourishes us with the roses, feeding us His mercies and giving us the power to do tshuva. End of note. Okay. Now, our sages have said, do not read only the verse. Right? They're gonna explain the language of the Gemara differently. I mean, the Gemara is going to explain the language of the verse differently. Do not read only the verse to mean He nourishes us with the Shoshanim roses, but also that means He nourishes us with those who study. Peter Shoshanim, this is very interesting. Shoshanim hu bechinas torah me inyan karev v'shoina. The meaning of Shoshanim, those who study, is referred to as Torah study, right? Expressing the idea that whenever one reads the Tanakh and Shoina studies, right? I think also like Shona is like Shinaim is like sharpness. There's like teeth. There's like a sharpness in your teeth when you're reading. Studies the Mishnah. Hashem reads and studies with him. right? When you study Hashem's words, you also cause Him to speak. The inyan, to explain the idea that Hashem nourishes us with bashoshanim, with roses, means that He nourishes us with Torah study in the month of Elul. Ki hatshuva tzarich lios l'malei kol hachesronos. The Shuva is complete with whatever revelation of Hashem is missing, right? Shuva makes up for what's lacking. Hein hachisaron shenase beheder. HaMitzvah shemoneha umachsir giloy or desoiviv kol almin hanimshach al yidei HaMitzvahs. Both what is missing through the lack of forming mitzvahs, which holds back and decreases the revelation of the light of Hashem, that is soiviv kol almin, encompassing worlds, that is drawn down through the mitzvahs. Vehein hachisaron shenase al yidei Torah sheyimekor bechinas memalek kol almin, and also what is missing through the lack of Torah study. Because that's one of the few mitzvahs that nobody gets off. What does he say? Scot free. Nobody gets off unscathed, right, from lacking that mitzvah. Everyone's missing in that aspect because we're constantly obligated to study Torah, at least men are, which is the source of Hashem's light that is permeates all worlds. And this is the meaning of what it says in Shemona Esrei, and bring us back with complete tshuva before you, meaning specifically tshuva that is complete and filling in all the missing aspects of Hashem's revelation, right? Both in that which is unlimited and limited, right? What do we mean by that? We mean by in our mitzvos and in our Torah. Right, we just understood that from the word Shoshanim, which the Gemara explained to mean also mean those who study, which is Torah. And this is the meaning of the verse. He nourishes us with Shoshanim, roses in the plural form, instead of saying with a rose, implying that there are two levels included in Shoshanim. Okay, so there's already two levels. Shoshano. Who he's oirus, you give him an actual rose, meaning the revelation of the third mercy. Fine, we already standard. We said that, which are from the level of Hashem is sovikalamin. This gives the power to Yeshua for any lack of mitzvos. The sheshoinim, the second understanding, those who study Torah, which is that same level as Shoshanim. Same letters as Shoshanim, meaning in Elul, Hashem nourishes us with the power to do tshuva for the lack of Torah study, which is the idea of how Hashem is mamalik olam and permeates the world. So the two levels of Hashem. Hashem is immanent and transcendent. After explaining the power for tshuva and Elul can fill all the missing revelation of Hashem for the lack of mitzvahs throughout the year, the Alter Rebbe will use this concept to explain the following question: why is Simchas Torah when we rejoice in the study of the Torah and fulfill the mitzvahs, celebrate after Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur? It would seem to make more sense to celebrate the Torah at the time it was given on Shavuos. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur are about being serious in our service for Hashem and doing tshuva for what we did improperly. So now we're going to understand, right? Simchas Torah comes right after, right? It's connected to the high holidays, it's connected to Elul. So you might say, because of our ability to rectify, I assume that's what he's going to say. What does it have to do with celebrating the fact that Hashem gave us the Torah? The Simchas Torah is right after Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Shehu b'chinas hamshacha simcha shel mitzvah al klalus Hashanah, since it is the idea of drawing down the joy of performing mitzvahs for the entire year. Throughout the year, we created a lack in the revelation of Hashem, specifically how He's called Solvi, right? That's in our mitzvahs. And through a lack of forming mitzvahs properly. And when the lack is filled through a new revelation of Hashem and Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, after our tshuva in preparation Elul, az nasa b'china simcha shel mitzvah, then we can truly rejoice in the mitzvahs, since we now have the complete revelation of Hashem from all the mitzvahs that we could have done in the past year. The same applies to our Torah study, as we just understood, right? Based on the Gemara that said we can read it two ways. We can read it as roses, we can read it as those who study. Through our tshuva and Elul and Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we were able to fill the lack of revelation of Hashem that was missing due to our lack of Torah study throughout the year. Since we are able to accomplish the revelation of Hashem from all the Torah mitzvahs of the past year at the time of Elul and Tishrei, we therefore celebrate the new revelation on Simchas Torah. Simchas Torah is when we kind of get to strut our new, fully redone, fully remodeled and rejuvenated selves, spiritually and physically. However, the joy of Simchas Torah is much greater than that of Shavuos, since the new revelation of Hashem from our tshuva from all the Torah mitzvahs of the past year is our accomplishment. Right? We're showing we made it, and not only do we make it, but we made it back better. We built ourselves back. Hashem built us back better through our efforts in Elul and the high holidays. Since the purpose of why Hashem gave us the Torah is that so that we should reveal Hashem through our efforts in Torah, mitzvahs, and teshuvah. Right? Memale, so corresponding to memale, imminent, sovev, transcendent, teshuvah, essence, above. Therefore, in Simchas Torah, we have the greatest celebration. We celebrate the new revelation of Hashem's essence. Because in order for us to rectify both Torah and mitzvahs, we needed to draw from Hashem's essence, teshuvah. Complete teshuvah. Teshuvah, right? So we celebrate the new revelation of Hashem's essence that was brought about through our efforts of Torah, mitzvahs, and tshuva. The ultimate revelation of Hashem from our own efforts comes from Hashem's power for tshuva that He gives us in Elul. Okay, let's just do these summaries, lessons, and then we're done. Here we go. Okay, question 1. What is the idea of Hashem commands us to fulfill the mitzvos? Specifically today means the physical world that we are currently in. The Torah is telling us that only in the physical world do we have the power to fulfill the mitzvahs, since in this world there is a revelation of Hashem's encompassing light, which connects us to His essence through the mitzvos. For this reason, we can only do tshuva in the physical world where the encompassing light is revealed and gives us the ability to change ourselves and our actions from bad to good. Right, so why can we do tshuva? Because tshuva is connected to the transcendent level of Hashem, and the transcendent level of Hashem is only accessed or altered in this world. This is where we put on mitzvahs. Whereas in the spiritual world of a Gan Eden, which is called tomorrow, we receive the spiritual reward for the mitzvahs. We cannot do tshuva by ourselves, since on that level, only Hashem's internalizing light is expressed, right? Only the level that's associated with mamali, the imminent light, is expressed, which is ironic because you think, oh, you go to heaven, you're going to get greater. You do, but not what you might think, right? You get more revelation, but you get a more contracted level of Hashem's revelation. There's pros and cons to both, obviously, but down here, no one's going to disagree that down here you elicit the highest level of Hashem. What is the main purpose of the godly souls who sent to this world? To refine and transform the human intellect. Wow, I like that. That's a very good definition. The animal soul, the human intellect, the animal soul, and the body to holiness, in that order, I would say. This is accomplished, though you could skip steps perhaps, but I would say the most sustainable approach is that order: human intellect, animal soul, body. Right, the animal soul meaning the drives for physical satisfaction, gratification. This is accomplished in particular through the contemplation during Hashem's true existence. This is accomplished when we contemplate Hashem's true existence, right? How everything's really just Hashem. And you do that by just probing everything. You point to, I'm going to say this table. This is a classic example. This table had to come from somewhere. That thing had to come from somewhere. That thing had to come from somewhere. Eventually, you have to get back to Hashem, right? You can use your own life. I had to come from somewhere. My parents, my parents had parents, but their parents had parents. Eventually, somebody had to have a God, right? And perhaps we could say that God is here right now. In me. At least. This is accomplished particularly through the contemplation of Hashem's true existence, how He creates and guides the world and ourselves until the human intellect comes to a fiery love for Hashem. He's waiting for us to be turned on to Him, right? This is like that game. What was that game? It was called Kent, maybe, where like one person does something and everyone has to realize who's the trend changer, and the last person to figure it out, I don't know, I guess they lose or something. So that's like this world, right? Where Hashem's just waiting for us to realize that He's everything, and then He's gonna be like, and then we're gonna be like, He creates and guides the world and ourselves until the human intellect comes to a fire love for Hashem and affects the animal soul and body, and also love Hashem, right? And we're here to really affect the body. Seeing our godly soul do godliness is not so interesting, but seeing the body do godliness, that's what we're here for. In general, it is accomplished through studying Torah and fulfilling mitzvahs. This is our training regimen protocol, using the human intellect, animal, soul, and body. Right, the more you can engage in the process of studying Torah and doing the most you can engage in, right, including other people, the greater effect it's going to have. The amount of time allotted for the godly soul to stay in this world is according to how much it needs to accomplish an effective transformation. Right, everyone's given a certain amount of time. That's why longevity is a pipe dream or a fallacy, because that's irrelevant. You need to maximize not the days of your life, but the life in your days. Really, that's really the goal. Since every day we refine and transform one aspect of our intellectual, emotional, and physical life through our service of Hashem, only in this physical world can such a transformation happen due to the revelation of the encompassing light of Hashem here. Okay, what happens if we don't accomplish these transformations of our animal, soul, and body to holiness because we fail to use our time properly? God forbid. This should be not a rhetorical question. This should be a question that really doesn't have any relevance in our lives, but let's say it does. Properly in Torah mitzvahs, is there any way to make up for it? Through tshuva. This is what we call tshuva. We can make up for whatever was lacking in revealing Hashem and transforming the body and the animal soul. The reason that tshuva is able to accomplish this is that it brings forth a new revelation from the essence of Hashem, which is even higher than the encompassing light and internalizing light that was supposed to be revealed through the mitzvahs and the Torah study. How can we reach such a high level of revealing of the essence of Hashem through tshuva? Through Hashem revealing the 13 attributes of mercy in the month of Elul. He gives us the power to do tshuva and bring about a new revelation from the essence of Hashem. What is the difference between the 13 attributes of mercy that we mentioned the entire year during the Tachanun prayer and 13 attributes of mercy specifically mentioned during Elul? 13 attributes of mercy expressed through year-round are for Hashem to have mercy on our physical life and to give us the power to refine the animal soul during prayer. However, right? So that's more has to do with our physical manifestation. However, the 13 attributes of mercy expressed in Elul are to give the godly soul the power to do tshuva from its very essence beyond its normal capacity, and thereby connect and reveal the essence of Hashem. Last question: why do we celebrate Simchas Torah after Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur instead of on Shavuos when the Torah was given? The greatest, and the answer is the greatest celebration is when we use the power given to us by Hashem to reveal Hashem through our own efforts and Torah mitzvahs and tshuva. And the fact that we're standing there after having rectified everything is the greatest revelation of this power, right? That we were there renewed another year since we accomplished the revelation of Hashem equal to all of that Torah mitzvahs that we were lacking the entire year through our tshuva, right? At least it's because it's from higher. It's got to be more than that. During Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, therefore we celebrate the new revelation of Hashem from our own efforts after Yom Kippur, after we complete the teshuva process. That's why Simchas Torah is such a lofty celebration. We said even in some ways higher than Shavuos. Okay, lessons in the service of Hashem from chapters 2 and 3. In this world, we can always change. No matter how much someone is stuck in a bad habit or destructive way of thinking or feeling, a person can always change their lifestyle and perspective from negative to positive, from unholy to holy. This is because the ultimate truth of Hashem is expressed specifically here in the physical world. And just like Hashem can do anything he can enable us to do to turn ourselves around, right? How much of a God would he be if he couldn't enable us to do that? We need to keep in mind that we are only here on a mission, the godly soul. Our true essence doesn't need any correction. It came here to accomplish something. Our main mission is to transform our human intellect, our natural emotions, and our body to make them holy and to reveal Hashem. In addition to revealing Hashem in our animal, soul, and body, part of our mission is to reveal Hashem to every Jew, and by extension, everyone and everything in this world. Right? You have to be a good example unto the world, light into the nations. When we live every day that we are on a mission, like we're on a mission, because we are, and every day is vital, we will take to heart to make our time really count. Even when we don't use our time properly in prayer, Torah study, and mitzvah performance, we have the ability to make up for it. Through tshuva, we can reach a deeper level of Hashem than even the mitzvahs, which is kind of unfair and ironic, right? It's people that mess up, elicit the highest right, elicitation of Hashem. And that new revelation from Hashem compensates for everything that was lacking. It fills in the gaps and the cracks and the potholes. But to reach the essence of Hashem, we need to reveal the essence of our godly soul, which takes work. The easiest time for us to reveal the essential connection we have with Hashem through our own efforts is during Elul. And a good chodesh again to everybody. I mean, everyone should have, should be written and sealed in the book of life. A chasima v'chasima tova. A chatima v'chasima tova. And we should all merit to dance in Simchas Torah with this understanding of what we're really celebrating. When Hashem and what we're experiencing, when Hashem makes himself available to us, giving us the power to reveal that connection, what connection? An essential level connection. We're revealing an essential level connection, right? We said Torah is at the level of the internality, mitzvah is at the level of the infinite dimension, the surrounding light, and then Tshuva is at the level of Hashem's essence, higher than Torah mitzvahs. The greatest celebration, you can ask someone, what's higher than Torah mitzvahs? So you could say Tshuva. The greatest celebration is when we work hard, and you can say essence. The greatest celebration is when we work hard to accomplish something. Since Tshuva is not easy, when we actually do Tshuva, we should celebrate it much more than something that came to us as a revelation from above, meaning a free lunch. Yasher koach, everybody. We should all feel good about this solicitation.